Alright, hello everyone, this is Darcy, and I'm here to bring you a very neat little game called Academagia. And, well, the best way to describe this game is, well, this game is a Hogwarts simulator. It's a life sim. You are a young mage entering mage school, learning about magery. It's a very neat little game, and I've grown very fond of it in the couple of days I've been playing it, and so I've wanted to share it with the entire internet. And even you, yes, my one viewer. So, let's start a new game. Now, I tried to capture this. This game is very difficult to actually properly record, unfortunately. I tried like a standard window capture, and for some reason it only captured some of the game and not all of the game, so I'm using a sort of weird setup in order to record this properly. That said, I do think it seems to be working. The little test that I had made it finally work, so I'm very excited about that. This here is not really a mod, it's just all the DLC the developer made that it apparently decided not to properly incorporate into the base game? I don't know. That's their life choice. I'm not sure what series of decisions led to that. You can also hear the music. Music is just various classical music. This is Boccherini night music on the streets of Madrid. It's very pretty. Kind of weird to me that it seems weird, out of keeping with the whole mage school thing, but what do I know? It's very nice. Anyway, I already have a build planned, and you will hopefully understand why I have done this advanced planning once we actually get into the character creator. This game has an incredible range of options, truly, I think, unique. Now, we have been admitted to the Imperial Academy of Magic, the best university in the entirety of Europe, or Illumia, fake Europe. It is the year of our Lord, 1657. And we are Fitzwilliam Darcy. Naturally. We'll also be male, and we are headed to the Academagia for Via Porta, Imperial City of Minota. So, let us begin character creation. Now, you can see here we have 10 points, of which we can put 5 into our base stats. You can see here it's pretty standard Fallout special system, strength, perception, intelligence, charisma, etc. And for this character, I may do multiple, depending on whether or not I start getting bored of this game. I haven't yet, after 10 hours and 2 days. I may in the future. I will put 3 insight, 2 intelligence, 2 charm, and 2 finesse. There are very specific reasons for this, which I will hopefully get into once we actually get into the game proper. These stats, they do matter. They are used essentially to determine how much you need to train to level up a skill, and they are added to base rolls for checks. That's the 2 biggest things they can do, and there are ways to increase them in the game. Certain quests can, I believe, and certainly raising your skills to certain levels will increase your base stats. So these are not immutable. They are not set in stone. So after that, we have lovely set of perks and options. We have 5 picks. Very nice, right? You have Omen, you have nationality, you have sign at which you were born. That all seems very simple, right? Now we can say we were born at noon to increase our observation. This we will do. Observation is actually a very important stat in this game. It's very useful for a lot of things, so I do want to take it. We can be born under a comet for luck. We'll actually do this as well. Having an extra luck chance and an extra just guaranteed % chance of success is nice. It doesn't matter too much, but luck is just generically useful. And it does actually seem to be useful in this game. There are certain things that are just luck checks. We have nationality, we have, I guess this is Magic Germany, I guess? This is, I guess, Magic France? Passion, romance, courtly fashion. We have Magic Italy, land of the old empire that fell apart, is still very wealthy, and, most importantly, +1 recipe stat. There's a recipe stat in this. Have I told you there's a lot of stats in this game? They're like well over 100, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, this all seems simple enough, right? But there's more. We can pick our family. Were we a favorite son? Were we a terrible child who was hated by our parents? Did our parents love us? Did our parents rob graves for fun? Are our parents devout? Did our parents do piracy? Or were our parents wizards? What about family history? Are we traitor Darcy? Did our family do a traitor that one time? Betrayed a great trust, which just makes people resent us? Were we wealthy? Of course, we're Fitzwilliam Darcy. Naturally, we're wealthy. You can see many options, but it keeps going. There's yet more. We have just, do we have a natural aptitude towards a certain skill? Are we good at filing? Incidentally, yes, we're going to be good at filing. I find that hilarious. Why is there a filing skill? I don't know. I mean, I do know. It does have a use, but why? Why is there a filing skill? Are we good at greengrocery? Do we have a scent detection skill? There are deeds. Did we do something particularly notable? Were we a bread thief? Did we just enjoy ruining bakers' lives and taking their bread for fun? Are we Jean Valjean? Did we do exploration and get romance and observation and pure luck? It's a nice thought. It's a nice thought, actually. This is an interesting set of skills, but I don't think we're going to pick this. Are we just good at being charming? Get a point of flirting as a child? Do we just accept percentage chances of failure? Do we suck at doing things? Are we naturally, it just keeps going. Do we have the ability to dominate someone verbally and just anger some random student named Bazir Rized for reasons we don't fully understand? So many questions. But we're not done yet. There's more. Where did we go to school in our younger days? Did we go to officer school? Did we go to revision school? Did we go to glamour school? What did we do? Did we go to music school? We didn't go to music school. I'm just gonna tell you now. What did we apprentice somewhere? Did we apprentice to be a page? Did we apprentice to be a wizard? Did we apprentice to be a soldier? Did we work in a pie kitchen? Note that if you start the game having apprenticed at a pie kitchen, you get a pie. You just get a free pie. That is the main benefit of the pie. You get a pie. How could you say no to a pie? Sadly, we are going to say no to a pie because it wouldn't fit into Mr. Darcy's background to be a master of pies. Sadly. Very sadly. I'd love to be master of pies. Pies are delicious. Are we master of heraldry? You know, like coat of arms. Can we paint a coat of arms? Do we know what bare gules on field argent means? That'd be a weird coat of arms. Whatever. Anyway, do we have a familiar? The answer to that question is yes, we have a familiar. His name is Captain Rufus Felix Northbridge. If you have a problem with Captain Rufus Felix Northbridge, you should turn off this video right now because that name is the greatest thing I think I have ever heard. Rufus Felix Northbridge, the Tabby Cat. He is one of a long line of wizard familiars who are independent and agile. But cats, you see, were also the ruin of the great wizard Appian Niddleman, the Wizard of Hogrift. That's a name. You know, that's too many consonants. Niddleman? That's 5. I mean, I guess the Y counts as a vowel. That's 5, 6 consonants in a row. Don't name your child Niddleman. Just don't. That's a terrible name. Moving on. We have the potential to inherit something. We could inherit a forge. We can inherit random potions. We can just inherit a random item. It's amazing. Have I told you I love this game and the character creator? We have discoveries. Did we have an adventure on the way to school? The answer to that question is yes, we did have an adventure on the way. Did our cat have an adventure on the way? Our cat can punch a bully. We can have cat, defeater of bullies. Beautiful. Beat down the bully so hard, his power over the other children is broken forever. We ruined a bully's life. Our cat, Captain Rufus Felix Northbridge, destroyer of bullies. That's a hell of a background right there. But we are not going to pick that. We are going to pick, actually, bitter hatred. That gives us a point back. Why do you ask? Why do you want bitter hatred? It's a fair question to ask, I think. The answer to that question is because it's hilarious. For you see, there is a grand adventure that led us to be just really mad at this one man, to lead to a rivalry, to last the ages. Because you see, you started off sharing a cabin on an airship, and then this guy took your food, rude. Then, this guy told you, spread rumors that you had lice and must be quarantined, so they threw you off an airship, forced you to march for an entire day to go to a town where you started punching each other and then were stripped and beaten in front of a temple to some random gods. You hate this man. Who is this man, you may ask? Some random dude. We don't even know his name. We just know that we hate him. And he's at school with us. This will be fun. I am excited for this. So that gives us an extra point. And that extra point, we will put, if we go back, we will put in this. When we were born, all the mirrors in our house just spontaneously blew up. This apparently gives us a point of intelligence. Don't ask. I have no idea either. When mirrors blow up, that means you're smart. That's just science. Obvious, come on. And so there we are. We have our set of traits. We have a familiar. And now we must pick what college we wish to attend. We could go to Morvidus with our rival and study revision and zoology. But is that befitting of a gentleman? Is friendship our treasure? I think treasure is our treasure. That's silly. We're not going to Morvidus. We could go to Vernon, study math and enchanting. It's a reasonable choice. Motto, prepare. We could go to Hetty. This place, H. And study rhetoric, grammar, and glamour. This is also a very strong choice. Acceptable. We're able to play the dragons and men against each other. Famed for diplomacy. Speak quietly, riddles. We could go to Godna College. The Gryffindor. Whatever the foe. About bravery. And the people who destroyed the dragons. We could study athletics, incantation. We're not going to do this. We could go to Durand. The Nature College. Study botany. And more importantly, study Hegel. Study the dialectic. I've heard tell in the ancient stories and the legends that if you turn dialectic upside down, you become a communist. It's a very dangerous science. It can only be trusted by the very few. Only the few can read Hegel. This is science. That's known fact. But I think we could also go to Avila, study the stars, and also math. But I think we'll go to Arenaus. Arenaus College, named after King Arenaus, a tactician, famed for both his skill and his brutality. Once championed the art and science of orthography, but sadly, orthography no longer exists. You may ask, how does a discipline no longer... Don't worry about it. I mean, the text says that actually it does exist. It just became a subset of it. Don't worry about it. It no longer exists. It was disappeared. It was memory hold. It's very sad. But anyway, we pursue perfection, order, and power. And our motto, beware courtesy. That seems like a very Fitzwilliam Darcy sort of motto. So, we're going to Arenaus, and we're going to study calligraphy and history. Now we have a choice of 4 other subjects. We will, of course, study the dialectic, because Hegel must be protected. We will study... You could say, we should study math, but no. Math is not the purview of a gentleman. Gentlemen can't know math. That's known. That's science. We can study grammar. That's very important. Gentleman needs to know how to speak properly. Same reason we'll study rhetoric. And because we are actually going to mage school and probably should learn at least one thing related to mages, let's actually study incantation. The art of fireballs and blowing things up. As opposed to, say, revision, the art of turning things into other things. What if you had a thing that you did not want, and another thing which you wanted more? You could turn the thing into the other thing. That's profit. I love it. But we cannot do this. Or the art of no. The simple art of just saying no to things. Negation. It's good stuff. But we will pick incantation. It is the most fun mage science. How could I say no to fireballs and blowing things up? Lightning, shattering walls. Or just wind. just making... There's so many options. Anyway, this is our character. The art of a gentleman. And now we must pick a portrait. We have 2 options. Both are very strong. But I think I will go with this. Both of them are very goofy, but I think this is the way. We have all of these perks. Many, many perks. And let us head to class. Of course, we will not change Captain Rufus Felix Northbridge's name. He is perfect. He is everything I want to be, and more, in a tabby cat. I don't know how that happens. And we can name our clique. This is an important naming choice. Actually, it may not be, depending on how the game goes, but I will name the clique anyway. Our clique will be the Dark, Brooding Protagonists. That is who we are. That is the very nature of Fitzwilliam Darcy. Good name. Let us begin. And so, we have arrived at Minota. I'd like to highlight text, but I can't. It just moves the window. Which begs the other question. Why is this like this? Why can't... Oh, I can't actually extend. Thank God. Why is this here? Why is this a thing? Move that out of the way. I don't need that. I don't need that. It's a very nice crest. But you know what would be better? Being able to read. There we go. There we go. So, we have text. We have our character. In the event we ever forget who we are, Fitzwilliam Grave Darcy. Oops. Well, that's gonna be there forever now. I'm sorry, Fitzwilliam. And you can see our attributes. We have 3 intelligence, 3 insight, very strong in those, as well as 2 of finesse, charm, and luck. And because of the incident with he who shall not be named, we have 2 stress, of our maximum of 2. Which means we're going to have to take care of that, first thing, unfortunately. But, that's all. And you think, that's easy enough. What are these 5 things? One of these things is, do we have any recipes? And do we have any valuable items? And the answer to both of those questions right now is no. Do we have themes? Themes are the building blocks of spells. You use them, you put them together, and you get a spell. We do not know any spells yet, but we know a bunch of themes, which we can cast on ourselves, and they will give benefits, or we can try to combine into other things. Like, say, a reason theme, which makes us question better. Or an insight theme, which just increases our insight for a while. And so on, and so on. And the real meat of the game. Stats. You may think, that's a few stats. And research areas, of which there are very, very many. But you see, it's not just these are the categories of stats. They are not themselves stats. So you can see in the aesthetic stat, we just know about hairstyles. By virtue of being wealthy, we have been taught the ways of court hairstyles. And this is true for every stat. You can see we have a point of art appreciation. But that is not the only stat in the art thing. There are many other art stats, which we just don't know about yet, and can discover through various ways and adventures. Now, I will open up some of these. Observation, you can see we start with 2. That, again, is very useful. And it'll be noted that skills also have attributes that go along with them. Observation, weirdly enough, doesn't actually use insight, it uses charm. Why? I don't really know, but it's there. Calligraphy, for instance, uses finesse, our dexterity, which makes sense. And so by virtue of our dexterity being pretty reasonable, most of these only take 1 successful check to level up. For now. It'll get harder as we learn more. But yeah, 6 stats for 1 category. Dialectic, naturally, takes intelligence, and we can see who's in our class with us. We can learn if our rival is in fact in our class. And learn when midterms and finals are, and who our professor is. That's also important. You can see, we have relations, right? We have relations with everyone. Apparently, we angered Vetter Contour, who really likes water. Apparently, he thinks blood is water. That's weird. That's dumb. Wow. I think we have a friend. I'm at a kiffer. We have a rival. We have a common rival. We need to destroy this man. Ruin his life. He deserves it. No, I'd probably, like, try to get my sister to elope with him or something. That'd be terrible. I know you, Wickham. Don't you do it. Anyway. Stats. Skills. Spells. And abilities. You can see our stats give us different options. Like, for instance, we can just pray to this random temple, which will increase our prayer and reduce our stress. We have a prayer stat. Skill at praying. We can try to work in the infirmary and just make money that way. Except we don't really know anything about medicine, so we'll probably just kill someone. Probably not going to work as a doctor. We could just work on brewing, or learn about languages with Professor Sido, and become friends with the professor. So many options, and we will try to use as many of them as possible. This is the real meat of the game, the different random fun things you can do. Anyway, yes, we have arrived at Minita, at the Academy. We want to fight pirates. In italics. And we get a letter from the previous occupant of this. Train in skills, study for classes. That's an important thing to note as well. Exams are dependent on your studying, not your skill level. You can have skill 10 and still fail an exam if you have 0 studying. Apparently, exams are completely unlike reality, just like real life. Anyway, we like setting things on fire. Nice. Anyway, wyverns are under control. So, I will use the opportunity to read this letter, not to read the letter, but to give you a basic tutorial of how the game works. Rufus Felix Northbridge. Yes. Gara Tolman. Gara was a very nice girl. And she mentions that, you know, you have a basic schedule that's set out for you going to class and then resting. And notes, perhaps the real heart of the game, adventures. There are many adventures we can go on, and we will go on. And I'll try to, once I get basic stats in order, we'll try to do as many of these adventures as possible, both because they're fun, and also because they give us nice things, and are entertaining. We have many options, and you will see, once we get into the game proper. Now, Gara also tells us about random events. There are many ways to get random events depending on where you are in the school and what you're doing. And also certain abilities can increase your chance of getting random events. I'm pretty sure your luck stat affects your ability to proc random events. That's part of why I want an extra point in luck. And there's a skill we can get and a spell we can get to increase our chance of random events, which we will be using. Because there's all sorts of interesting, fun things that can happen. Now, as the letter notes, sometimes you'll fail skill checks. Sometimes you'll try to make a skill check in a stat you don't even know about. This is fine. If you fail, you still learn. Either, if you don't know what the skill is, you'll learn what the skill is, or you'll have the potential to gain experience in a skill which will level it up. So, you know, say if I had no observation skill, and I tried to do an observation check, I'd learn about observation, which means I could train in it for the future. It's a very neat system, and it'll make a lot more sense as we get into the game proper. Now, let us keep going. Now she talks about training. I've already talked about training. Got the same idea. Training is that, and it is built around base stats. Now, she also mentions that the parent skill to training, or the parent skill, these classes of skills, that number is derived from your 3 lowest numbers in, or your 3 highest, the lowest of your 3 highest, bleh. Let me try that again. It's derived from the lowest of your 3 highest numbers. So, you can see school survival of 1, because our top 3 things are 1, 1, and 1. Now, if we look at research, we have 3 things, 1, 1, and 1. But you can see here with blackmail here, we only know 1 stat. And even though that stat is 2, our blackmail ability is still going to be 0. It's all very complicated. It's actually not that complicated. It'll make sense, but it's kind of unintuitive. Anyway, let us keep going. Still more useful than not. There we go. Gara suggests that we start with this class of skills. She is correct. There is much here that is very useful. If we level our social skills, we will eventually learn out how to make friends and invite people to the Dark Brooding protagonists. This is very important because Your circle of friends will go with you on adventures, and you can use their stats as checks in adventures. So, if I were to befriend someone who was, for instance, amazing at art, and there was an art check, then I could use their art skill in place of mine. That is very useful. Also, you can do other things, which we'll see once we actually go on an adventure and make friends. Also important are study habits and test taking. As it turns out, studying how to study is very important when you have 6 classes and need to improve these quite highly in order to do well with exams. And test taking, again, useful for learning how tests work, because that's important. You are at a mage school. You will have tests. They will matter. Anyway, if we keep going... Right. Now, she's going to tell us about classes. The use of going to class is essentially that you get free points by going to class in all of these skills. Randomly can get points in one of these skills, depending on the class that you go to. You get 3 classes per time cycle, and you have the potential to learn, get a check in any of these skills per time cycle. Which means that if you are a good student and go to class, you will learn how these things work. Which means that it's generally not a bad idea to go to class, at least in the beginning, to learn how these things work. And also, if you don't go to class enough, you will... the school will notice. They're not dumb. They can figure out that you haven't been going to class for a week. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. Anyway, midterms are going to be in roughly 3 months, at the 1st of Shaymare, which is a ways away from now. And Gara will tell us that in order to do well in our exams, we should have our study skill at 5 and our actual skill also at 5. And likewise for exams, we want these maxed at 10. Anyway, if we keep going... Now, Gara's going to tell us about our cat. Captain Rufus, look at this cat. He's adorable. I love him. And so this familiar also has skills. Well, right now, he doesn't have skills, but he can get skills. And those skills get added to our skills for checks. So if Cat is particularly good at being stealthy, that will help us to be stealthy. And Cat also has a very specific set of skills called Bond, which is how much our cat likes us, basically. And increasing these levels will increase the use of our cat, and increase the likelihood of our cat to not kill us, like 5 consummate men in a row. And this bond has 3 substats: iron, silver, and stars. Iron is physical bond, silver is, I think, intellectual bond, and stars is mage bond. And we can level each of these individually, but of course we'll want to level them together because, as Gara so helpfully noted, your category stat is dependent on the lowest of these 3 stats. Anyway, yes, familiar. Very useful. Very, very useful. Ley lines, imbalance relations, so on. Anyway, if we continue with Gara, last section, we'll talk about... Talk about locations. One of our options in this game is to explore, and we can discover new locations, either be told about them in classes, or by events, or just randomly explore places and find stuff. And some of that stuff will have either events to go with them, that's what these abilities are. Say we can go to the athletic fields to become more athletic. Or various events that go along with them. So, here we have basically all the basic ideas of Mage Simulator here. And we will never read this letter again. But Gara has been very useful to us in letting me explain all the basic ideas of this game. She also mentioned spells and themes over here. Anyway, now that all the tutorializing is over, I can end this video, and next time, we'll actually try to play this game. No more Gara. Bye everyone. See you next time.